House Leader, third party.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I'm sorry to disappoint the Minister of Environment, but we're going back to money laundering, which is prospering in BC. So money laundering enriches those who are damaging our society, and it's harming citizens across the province. As criminal money pours into our housing supply, jacking up the prices, it pushes people away from homes that they could have lived in. It also fuels the opioid crisis that is destroying families and communities across this province. Last week, I raised the issue of the integrity of past anti-money laundering investigations and the role of the BC Lottery Corporation. In his response, the Attorney General stated that the U.S. lists Canada as a problem jurisdiction for money laundering. He also stated that, quote, "It appears as though money laundering investigations aren't taking place to the degree that they should," end quote. Yesterday, in a response to my colleague's call for a public inquiry into money laundering, the Attorney General stated that the procedure his office is taking to address the issue is faster than a public inquiry. However, the main appeal of a public inquiry is not its speed, but its depth, its ability to expose the legal gaps of our system, dig deep into the roots of the issue in public, and be able to use legal powers to summon individuals to cooperate. My question through you, Honourable Speaker, is to the Attorney General. There is widespread agreement that money laundering is a huge problem. It's not being adequately addressed. Will his government launch a public inquiry into money laundering?
Attorney General.
Thank you. And I thank the member for the question. Obviously, the approach that we're taking is aimed at stopping the activity that is happening right now in British Columbia. That is our main focus, and it is taking the government's full attention to work on that. I agree with the member, though, that a public inquiry does bring the benefit of going into significantly more depth on these issues. One of the pieces I was concerned about when Dr. Dermot's initial report came out was that there were many stories in that report that didn't get attention, but beyond that, there were likely many stories that were not told, just given the amount of time and the scope that we gave Dr. Dermot because we wanted answers quickly about how to stop what was happening in our casinos. I agree with her about the benefits of a public inquiry, but I hope she also agrees with me about the benefits of trying to stop the activity as quickly as possible that's happening in BC and keeping the option of a public inquiry open if that's necessary.
House Leader, third party on a supplemental.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and it's great to see agreement on this front, because I think so many people across BC really are asking when is enough evidence enough to make the move towards having a public inquiry. The German report originally estimated that the levels of money laundering were in the hundreds of millions, but now the Ministry of Finance has estimated that the problem is closer to $1 billion. And a recent Global BC report reinforces this, estimating that roughly $5 billion of illegal funds have been laundered in Vancouver real estate since 2012. The evidence of the problem does continue to grow, as does its size and scope. We know the 2 reports the Minister is expecting in March will likely raise even more concerns. The Attorney General said earlier this month that public inquiries generally take a long time and that he doesn't think solutions are so complicated. Yet clearly we have no idea how big this problem is or how deep it goes. My question again through you, Honourable Speaker, is for the Attorney General. I know he's not ruled out a public inquiry. I'm heartened by his words today. But when will the public know if an inquiry into money laundering is going to happen or not? Attorney
General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to the member. We're expecting the reports from Dr. Derman and from Maureen Maloney at the end of March. We expect that they will be of great interest both within this House and outside of this House to many British Columbians, and likely to many Canadians who are concerned about what they're seeing happening in British Columbia. And I'm sure we will have more conversations at that time. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.